Hello everyone, this is Dr. Tariq Masood. Thank you very much for your unprecedented support and conviction to make this channel a grand success. We are a partner. Please subscribe our channel if you haven't done so far. As a team, we can convert challenges into opportunities and opportunities into success stories. These success stories can be monetized into a dollar value. Okay, today we are going to discuss my last lecture, Optimisms. So we have already discussed emotional intelligence model, a 15 lecture. This is my last lecture today. So before my lecture, I used to read a Quranic verse, Rabbi Shrali Sadri wa Yassarli Amri wa Halal Uqdatam min Lisani Yaqfa Qawli Rabbi Zidni Ilma. Now, before my lecture Optimisms, in my next slide, I am going to give highlights for my future plan and lectures I'm going to deliver next couple of months. Okay, before my lecture on Optimisms, I just would like to give highlights my future plan. My future plan to give a complete trail or large number of lectures on sustainable development on clean energy. So to develop a clean energy, we have set up a process pyramid. So this pyramid, what it contributes and what result we are supposed to deliver. The first layer is called the leading factors: person safety, co-worker, contractor, and community safety. That is turned into reliability. So that is my leading factors. So the second is environment compliance, process safety, and asset integrity. These are my semi-leading. Work safely or not at all. That is my semi-leading. Okay. In my third layer here, that is my semi-lagging. Product on specification, production rate at plan. There is always time to do it right. So that is my semi-lagging. So on the top here, it's my lagging factors. If it is worth doing, do it in a better way. That is my lagging factor. In order to stay on the top, we need a different discipline engineers: petroleum, chemical, power, instrument control, mechanical, industrial, and civil, to deliver the result as planned. So in order to drive maximum value, they must acquire a different specialty as we have mentioned here. So based on this specialty, we can deliver as given in the pyramid from bottom to top. So in order to have this pyramid, what we supposed to have? We need to have center of excellence for engineering best practices. So this is a complete story of my future plan. Will deliver a large number of lectures on center of excellence for engineering best practices. So on my next slide, I will give a brief about the area which we will focus on during my Center of Excellence for Engineering Best Practices. Okay, this is my last lecture which we'll discuss today. Optimisms, lecture number 3 on stress management as a positive attitude and outlook on life. So after that, we will discuss personality assessment and organizational behavior. That will be a 2 segment which will be discussed on later stage. Okay, key takeaway points from this lecture. The first, what is the optimisms? Impact at work, emotional implications, social and behavior implications, then strategies for actions, pessimistic moments, reevaluate and balance emotional intelligence as far as the optimism is concerned. On my next slide, we are going to discuss a brief about emotional intelligence, and then we will give a complete trail on my lecture number 3, that is optimism. Okay, now we are still discussing stage 2 emotional intelligence of leadership versatility indexed on later stage personality assessment organizational behavior. Okay, what is the balanced emotional intelligence? Happiness, satisfied with life and content. Happiness includes feelings of satisfaction, contentment, and the ability to enjoy the many aspects of one's life. It is different than the other emotional intelligence abilities in that happiness both contributes to and is a product of emotional intelligence. As you know, balanced emotional intelligence comprises of four segments: self-regard, optimisms, interpersonal relationship, and self-actualizations. What is self-regard? If you could improve one facet of your life, what would it be? Why? Aside from material things, what is it about you that makes you truly happy? In optimisms, when are you the least optimistic? How could your outlook be improved in these situations? When faced with a new challenge, how do you typically feel? List your emotions and think about why you feel this way. In number 3, interpersonal relationship. Are there times when you struggle with your relationship? If so, what causes the struggle and how do you remedy conflict and miscommunication? Do you have a mentor? Do you act as a mentor to someone else? Number 3, self actualizations. Identify that you value most in life. Are you spending enough time on the activities most important to you? What legacy will you leave behind? So, these are the well being indicators how the emotional intelligence reflect as far as leadership versatility index is concerned. Okay, last couple of months we have run a complete trail and published 12 lectures, a 3 lecture on each segments: self perceptions, self expressions, interpersonal decisions making. Now we have started stress management. Stress management also includes 3 lectures. So before starting a stress management, I would like to give a brief about self perception, expression, interpersonal decisions making. Okay, self first we will talk about self perception, brief about the self regard, self actualization, self awareness. What is the self regard? Self regard, respecting oneself while understanding and accepting one's strengths and weaknesses. Self regard is often associated with feelings of inner strength and self confidence. That is number 1. Number 2, self actualization is the willingness to persistently try to improve oneself and engage in pursuit of personally relevant and meaningful objectives that lead to a rich and enjoyable life. Number 3, self awareness. This is also known as emotional self awareness, which includes recognizing and understanding one's own emotions. This includes the ability to differentiate between subtleties in one's own emotions while understanding the cause of these emotions and the impact they have on one's own thoughts and action and those of others. So, now we are going to talk about self expressions. First, self emotional expression, assertiveness, and independence pulse. First, I will give a some pulse on emotional expressions. Is openly expressing one's feeling verbally and non-verbally. Number 2, assertiveness involves communicating feelings, beliefs, and thoughts openly and defending personal rights and values in a social, acceptable, non-offensive, and non-destructive manners. Number 3, independence. The ability to be self-directed and free from emotional dependency on others. Decisions making, planning, and daily tasks are completed independently. So that is number 2. Number 3, interpersonal, and it also includes three sections: interpersonal relationship, empathy, and social responsibilities. Interpersonal relationship, the skill of developing and maintaining a mutual satisfying relationship that are characterized by trust and compassion. Number 2, empathy, recognizing, understanding, and appreciating how other people feel. Empathy involves being able to articulate your understanding of an other's perspective and behaving in a way that respect others' feelings. Okay, number 3, a social responsibility. Social responsibility is willingly contributing to society, to one's social group, and generally to the welfare of others. Social responsibility involves acting responsibility, having a social consciousness, and showing concern for the greater community objectives. Okay, now decisions making. First is a problem solving, then reality testing and impulse control. Problem solving is the ability to find a solution to problems in situations where emotions are involved. Problem solving includes the ability to understand how emotions impact decisions making. Reality testing is the capacity to remain objective by seeing things as they really are. This capacity involves recognizing when emotions or personal bias can cause one to be less objective. Number 3, impulse control is the ability to resist or delay an impulse, drive, or temptation to act, and involves avoiding rash behavior and decisions making. Number 5, stress management. So we will discuss a flexibility, stress tolerance, and optimism, and then we'll give a complete trail on flexibility. Okay, flexibility is the adopting emotions, thoughts, and behavior to unfamiliar, predictable, and dynamic circumstances or ideas. Number 2, stress tolerance involves coping with stressful or difficult situation and believing that one can manage or influence situations in a positive manner. Number 3, optimism is an indicator of one's positive attitude and outlook on life. It involves remaining hopeful and resilient despite occasional setback. So that is how these 5 segments are being discussed. Please explore my YouTube channel and you can give me your input feedback on 12th lecture already available on my YouTube channel. Okay, model of emotional intelligence, stress management. In my earlier lecture, we have run a complete trail on flexibility. What is flexibility? Is adopting emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to unfamiliar, unpredictable, and dynamic circumstances or ideas. Then we have also run a complete trail on stress tolerance. So involves coping with stressful or difficult situation and believing that one can manage or influence situations in a positive manner. Okay, now we are going to discuss optimisms. So what is optimism? My lecture number 3 is an indicator of one's positive attitude and outlook on life. It involves remaining hopeful and resilient despite occasional setbacks. So on the last stage, then we will discuss balanced emotion intelligence as far optimism is concerned. Okay. Now we are going, as we talk about the key takeaway points, so we're going to discuss optimism is the ability to remain a positive. Setback often differentiate star performer and others in the workplace, permeates almost every applications of emotional intelligence, from helping you to preserve to enabling you to view changes as a good thing. You need to demonstrate optimistic preferring to see the world in a positive light. Results the average range indicate that you are not so overly optimistic that you blind of naive to realities of life. Some characteristics are as demonstrated. In the first here, you need to tend toward a glass half full approach. In the second here, it mentions hopeful about the future. Number three, you need to understand you are energized by setback and obstacle, fuel to overcome challenges in life. Okay, after the optimism, as we have discussed in my earlier slide, first is the impact at work. So the impact at work has a two segment. The first segment is called the emotional implications here. So emotional implication defines in two different parameters. The first parameter is optimistic people experience a range of emotions who are not so optimistic that you ignore fear, nor are you so pessimistic to ignore the happiness, as they have mentioned in first instance here. In the second instance here, they have mentioned to your team, this grounded optimistic is likely transferable to others will see hopeful visions of the future, and with the realistic plan, they will see that this vision is attainable. So this is the second instance of emotional implications. Okay, in my last slide, we have discussed emotional implication impact at work. On my this slide, we are going to discuss second segment of impact at work, that is social and behavior implications. So the social and behavior implication has three different segments. In the first segment, hopefulness and the resilience are attributes of effective leaders. You likely able to see opportunity and possibility that others may overlook or simply reject for being too difficult or too time consuming or outside of organization current comfort level. In second segment here, your goal and if applicable the goals set for others are likely to reflect optimistic approach to work. You see the possibility and set stretched target that help you strive for best. In the last segment here, there is still room to increase your level of optimism, as certain instances at work likely cause to you more negative that you wish to be. So these all three segments reflect what is the social and behavior implication reflect at work if apply. Now we are going to discuss strategies for actions. So strategies for action constituted into two segments. The first segment is the pessimistic moments. What are the pessimistic moments? If there are times when you feel less optimistic, take note of when these occur. So it has a different segment. The first, identify the trigger for your pessimism. Is it when one timelines are tight? Are you in a leadership role and skeptical of others' capability? Number two, debate validity of pessimism. Look at the past of the confirm whether similar successful and unsuccessful situations have occurred. In the third here, if your pessimism is warranted, perhaps contingency plan of risk should be considered. So that is important how the things should happen as far as strategy for actions and the first pessimistic moment are concerned. In my last slide, we have discussed strategies for action first segment, pessimistic moments. On my this slide, we are going to discuss second segments, that is reevaluate. So what are the reevaluate? In the reevaluate, when you are faced to the challenges and you are normally optimistic, damners waivers, you may need to reevaluate your goal in order to visualize to a successful outcomes. In the first segment here, adjust your task and goals in more manageable and attainable segments. For larger, more denting projects, to break up them into 5 or 7 smaller steps. In second here, this does not mean that you should oversimplify and trivialize what is needed. It does help to become more solution focused at smaller intervals than to be bundled a single overwhelming goals. In the third segments here, each small step describe what visualize success to be. Key focus of these are smaller outcomes to help bring your optimistic back line. So as far as the reevaluate is concerned. Okay. Now we are going to conclude our lecture. It is my last slide, balancing emotional intelligence as far as the optimism is concerned. Before conclusion, just a recap what we discussed. We have discussed optimism first segment, positive attitude and outlook on life. And second, we have discussed the optimism impact at work. And impact at work has two segments. First, the emotional, and second, social and behavior implications. In number 3, we have also discussed strategies for actions, pessimistic moments, and reevaluate, two approaches and strategies for actions. Now, we are going to conclude and give brief about what is the balancing emotional intelligence. The balancing emotional intelligence by comparing optimism with self-regard, interpersonal, so relationships and reality testing, what we can gain here. The sub-skill that differs the most from our optimism self-regard, improving interplay between these sub-skills likely to significantly impact on your overall performance. Okay, now, so if you can see here, the optimism self-regard, if your optimism is lower than your self-regard, the balancing these components take a time to reflect past accomplishments while setting up appropriate goals for personal achievement, thus creating a strong outlook for the futures. Thank you very much for your precious time to make my lecture a grand success. Thank you very much again. Thank you very much again. Please don't hesitate. Please send me your feedback and comments t.masood.here@bath.edu. Thank you very much again for your precious time invested to see my video lecture. Thank you very much again.